Hi, welcome back to The Perspective on Berita Satu. I'm Blaise Hope with Andrew Senduk, CEO of Moxy Indonesia. What was the inspiration in terms of websites that you looked at in the creation of Moxy? I mean, what was a model, or what were you trying to combine?
Well, of course, if you now look at the landscape, there's a lot of websites, and it's not that we're per se following a certain website. Mm-hmm. I think, of course, our creative team has done an excellent job in creating a new face. Because at the end of the day, if you look at the different websites, not only in Indonesia, but let's say in the Southeast Asian region, there's of course a certain pattern that you see everywhere. And of course, there are some building blocks that everyone uses, maybe. But from the design perspective, yeah, it's kind of a mix and match between what's going on here in the Southeast Asian region, also websites that in Europe, the leading female-focused websites that we see there. We of course are inspired by the different things that we see online. But there's not specific like one website that we follow as in, okay, we want to be that specific website.
So it's shopping and it's content, so you're trying to engage people. Do you have an app yet?
Not yet, but we're definitely it's in the planning, and hopefully we can launch it, in the coming months.
Now you came back to Indonesia from Europe, from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
But you are Indonesian. What brought you back?
Different reasons. I think family for sure is one of the elements, because my parents actually remigrated back in 2008. Mm-hmm. But another big element is of course the energy and the movement which is going on in Indonesia now, coming from the Netherlands, where there's a GDP of below 2-3%, and then moving to Indonesia, where everything is actually. Despite of the traffic, despite of the macet, it's very fast-paced here. There's a lot of things going on. Buildings arising every month almost, and the speed here and the opportunities and the market potential that Indonesia has been one of the key elements for me and my family to actually move back to Indonesia. We've been away for quite a long time, because I lived here when I was a little kid, but now comparing the e-commerce space in Europe, e-commerce space in the Netherlands, to the things that are going on in Indonesia, is from a total different league. Sorry, different league.
Yeah. Well, what are you? You're not alone coming back.
No.
Do you think? How big do you think e-commerce is going to be here? Because so many websites have opened up, are continue to do so.
Yeah. It's. I think it's going to be very exciting, and if you talk about how big it can be, I mean, talking about, let's say, online, if you talk about the online retail market, which is, let's say, 140, 150 billion US dollar in Indonesia, what percentage of that retail is actually spent online, right? Which is below 1%, or maybe 1%. Yeah. That fact alone makes me excited. If you look at the internet users compared to the people that actually buy online, Indonesia is still 6-7% maybe, where in mature markets like the US or in Europe, it's 60-70+%. So that statistic alone makes me very excited, and the potential is huge. Of course, there are a lot of challenges that Indonesia also has. It's been talked about very often about the logistics, payment, and the lack of trust. Mm-hmm. But I believe that us and the other e-commerce players, it's our task to actually build the digital landscape in Indonesia and actually build the trust. So for us, it's again coming back to what I said in the beginning. Customers are our main priority. And there's a lot to win in the market where. If we talk about customer excellence, I mean, even if I go on an offline store, the return policy usually is very strict. So for us as well, at the moment we have free shipping to the customers. They can ship for free if they want to do returns as well. 30 days, no questions asked. And I think those are elements that we as e-commerce players need to provide to our to our customers, but just to the public, to win the trust, you know, in the e-commerce landscape. And when we win the trust, I think trust is actually one of the key elements. Actually, if we talk about breaking barriers in Indonesia, when we can build those elements of trust, it's about is it safe to pay with credit card, you know? Then we offer cash on delivery. Is it safe if I receive the wrong product? How do I return? You know, is it difficult? Yes or no? We want to make everything easy. You know, we want to make everything easy so that people can actually enjoy their weekend with their family instead of, you know, going to the mall and being in the car for 2-3 hours. So the market potential is huge, and I think it's up to us again to create that value and to create the ease and practicality for the customers.
Well, continuing with trust, because I mean that's a key issue here, maybe the key one. If everyone has smartphones, which everyone here does or soon will, and they all use them, yet the penetration is so low, what do you do to build that trust?
Well, I think it's, especially here in Indonesia, it's definitely a part of an online and offline activity as well, because at the end of the day, trust is not something you can buy, you know, and a lot of the online players now, I mean, you see it everywhere. It's kind of a pricing game, a pricing war going on. Everyone is trying to offer the cheapest price, but I think trust itself, trust takes time. Of course, it's just like meeting a new person. It takes time to build a relationship. So I think building a relationship takes time. So it's also patience from our side, I would say, from the e-commerce players itself. It takes time, but it takes also a lot of events, you know, where people actually need to see the brand. You should make it very easy for people to buy actually products from you. You should make it easy for them to return goods as well. Solid refund policies. Actually, I see e-commerce more as a relationship building strategy. It's actually just becoming a friend with someone. One, it takes time, and you need to spend time with that customer. You need to understand actually what drives the customer. You need to understand what gives value to that customer. And those are things we're learning along the way, and we're implementing. You know, if for us, that's why customer service is one of the key elements as well. We need to understand and learn from customers what their problems are, and what aspects of the chain they add. You know, what value, what aspects in the value chain they actually find of great importance. So, for instance, that could be offering cash on delivery or free returns, for example. Yeah, it takes time. It takes understanding what customers want and actually implementing those elements as soon as possible.
Well, speaking first about customers, is the content is a driver behind the content to build trust as well as association with the brand?
So as an online player, I think becoming an expert, becoming an authority, becoming the go-to place or the online destination is something again which does not happen overnight. So of course it's an element where we say we want to become the online destination for women. So the content part definitely is an element in that where, you know. For me, I mean, how I see the future, say within a short amount of time, I would like, you know, every female within our demographics 20 to 40, if they would go online, that they would go to Moxy. Either it's for shopping, either it's for reading content. That is let's say the goal that we have, right? So because we want to be all about women. Definitely it's part of the building block, let's say, in building that trust in the market and building that title of authority or expertise within the market.
And just to finish on trust, retailers, the people, the producers, what is your relationship with them? You know, how do you make sure that they send an iPhone and not a bar of soap if they buy an iPhone?
Yeah. So we of course have a strong quality assurance as well. Let's say every partner that we work with should have, should have their papers in place. We really try to, again, this comes down to the end consumer. I mean, we of course want to give them the best value and the best products we can. So on our let's say merchant or supplier acquisition, if we talk or work with suppliers, we only want to work with suppliers that are proper suppliers, that have all documents in place, and not just some supplier who, where the risk, I mean, if the risk is there, if we feel that there's a risk that the supplier would, send a blue phone instead of a white phone, then we won't even work with that supplier. So I think it starts there. It starts there as well with what partners do we work with to be able to eventually give the best service and the best product to our end customer.
Before we go to break, I just want to ask, how do you recruit retailers? Do they come to you? Do you go to them? Or what's the process?
At the moment, it's quite funny that you ask, because in the last 2 weeks since we launched, a lot of the retailers and suppliers, they've approached us because they read things about us. But yeah, it's a mix. It's definitely a mix. We have a strong team of buyers who go out and about, and when they see new products, they try to find out new suppliers. So it's definitely a mix of us going to suppliers and reaching out to the big players. But then again, since the last couple of weeks, a lot of the suppliers also reach out to us and they say, okay, I see you are all about females. Our products fit. Let's have a chat. So it's a dual strategy for sure.
All right. Do you have warehouses?
Yeah. So fortunately, like I said before, we're part of RN Capital, which is a venture capital firm based in Thailand. One of their investments is also ecommerce, which is one of the leading now end-to-end e-commerce service providers, and they have a warehouse. One of the warehouses actually is in Halim, where
East Jakarta.
East Jakarta, where we also have our stock, and all our warehousing and logistics is done by our sister company.
Okay, great. We're going to go to break, Andrew, but stay with us. We'll be back on The Perspective with part 3 of Andrew Senduk, CEO of Moxy Indonesia.